Hi there, my name's Jason Williams, and this video, as you can probably tell, is about why I use BF Goodrich tyres on all my four-wheel drives. To start this video off quickly, it's just a short one. To start it off, I am not paid to do this, and I'm not sponsored in any way, as you can probably tell. Alright, with that out of the way, what I have to do is talk to you about tyres very quickly, as in, I've used a lot of different tyres and I sort of keep going back to BF Goodrich. And so I guess I'll talk briefly and quite quickly about what it is and why do I use them. It began quite some time ago with, quite some time ago. I bought my first four-wheel drive, quite a lot of years ago, and I wanted the best looking tyres. I liked the white riding, I liked the chunky. So the original tyres I got were BF Goodrich, but they were the Mud Terrains. They were the KMs, weren't the KM2s or anything. And since then there's even a KM3, which is out at the moment. So I tried the Mud Terrains, and that they were good. Yeah, sure, they were good. And I don't want to sound like a fanboy here. I tried them, and then when the KM2 was being released, that's a Mud Terrain, the version 2 of it, I couldn't wait to get them. And so I bought those. I can't remember what year they were released, but anyway, when they first came out, I got some, and I used them extensively. I went through so many pairs of them, just wearing them out. I do a lot of kilometres, as you might have noticed if you followed me on either Instagram or watched some of the other YouTube videos. Not that I've been doing this long, but I've been travelling remotely in the country a lot for a long time. So, in saying that, what is my experience with BF Goodrich? Well, I'll tell you quite quickly. I do a lot of kilometres, obviously, as you can tell, and all my driving, almost all of it, is in the northwest of Western Australia, and that's the Pilbara and Kimberley region, and for work and for pleasure and for everything really. And so I would, Mud Terrains were great because I didn't drive on bitumen almost at all, almost never hit the blacktop. So I didn't mind, and I'd love to know, in the comments below, or whatever you might want to do, I'd love for you to let me know what you think of the Ks I'm getting, because I'm about to tell you the kind of distance I get out of them. Understanding that I drive in the northwest through summer and winter, which is the dry season and the wet season, and I go through tyres pretty quick. So I get, out of this is the KM2s I'm referring to at the moment, the Mud Terrains, I'll get about 35,000 kilometres, which is not huge, 30,000, knew I was getting close. 35, I had to change them. Never got some to 40,000 before. I've had tyres like the BF Goodrich, these, or similar to these ones. I've had them delaminate, and I've got many, many punches. And I wonder where, I wanted a tyre that didn't get punctured, because it's not puncture proof. You can't get a tyre that's not going to get a puncture. And so I remember, I better not say the name of the brand that I did try. I tried quite a few different tyres as well. But this one I'll mention, not the name of it, but what I tell you, if you understand the ads, you'll gather probably who it is. Anyway, there was an advert that said, that this was what was said about these tyres, that I have done X amount of Ks and no punches. And I was like, I've got to try that, because for one, I haven't got that X amount of Ks ever out of a tyre, and two, They said no punches. They didn't get any punches. So I did. I tried these tyres in the same sizes that I normally use. And I'll be honest, that was not the case. I got punches, I got delaminations, and I didn't get even remotely that amount of Ks, and I was actually quite disappointed with the tyre in general. It was quite a disappointing tyre, and so I went back to KM2s, the mud trains. I went back to them, and of course I wear a couple of those out because I do a lot of Ks, and then I then got another pair of tyre that I didn't really know much about. No one really knew. It wasn't overly, and they were cheaper, and so I bought them. This other brand that I shouldn't mention, but you'll probably, those who have owned them will know exactly what I'm saying. I owned these. They were like a mud train type, pretty similar to the KM2, and it seemed to be wearing a little bit slower. They did. Punches about the same. Might have been a little bit more resilient, and the chipping on the gravel roads in summer and on the rocks and everything was, they chipped fairly similar. It wasn't too much difference between them, apart from the one thing that broke me, and that was after about 4,000 Ks on them, they got deafeningly noisy, and that was a deal breaker. I was not interested, because that was the whole idea of the KM2 when it came out, was it was quieter, and these were not. So again, I went back to the KM2s, to another new set of those. And even then I've tried some other different brands. Some were no name, some were, I kept returning to the same tyre, and I wondered, why is one tyre seemingly better? But what I did notice was other people were having really good results with other tyres and not so good with BFs, and I wondered why that might have been. And over time I began to realise and understand that it was the weight of your vehicle, how you drove and when you drove, and how all your conditions. So if you're using a tyre, you have a tyre and it serves you quite well, I suggest stick with it. BFs have always done quite well. My cars have always been heavy. Years ago when I was younger, they were over GVM. That, any four-wheel drive I had was over GVM, and I don't know, was that part of it? I can't say that BFGs were yes, I do think they're amazing. I'm not a fanboy, but I don't think that Corellas. I don't think I'd love to know, is there a better tyre? I will try new ones, different ones. There's one or two brands that I'm particularly interested to try, but whether I get there or not, or do I just, stick with what I'm using because I get a pretty good result. And so, since I no longer live in the Pilbara, in the northwest of WA, I find myself travelling a lot of bitumen and good condition gravel roads. And I can't justify mud trains anymore. And so I started using these, the KO2s, which is the all-terrain version 2 of them. Never tried the original KOs, but KO2s, and I'm quite impressed with these. I've just put a new set on the Land Cruiser here. The last set I had, I haven't worn them out. I've got them still in the shed, as well as the rims, just because I needed new rims. I kind of wrecked the rims, but I've been full driving with them very significantly. I don't think I got a puncture, but then again, I'm not in that kind of terrain anymore. but it is that I got 60,000 kilometres out of that set of tyres, and they weren't completely worn out, and I was pretty happy. You know, I know I should get better. You know, I'd love to hear from others that might see this and might know about tyres, and they might say, look, you should be using, you know, this or that or whichever. And you know, I constantly do change. I'm definitely not a fanboy. I do like them, but you know, I will try other tyres. And so far, with over the last 15 to 20 years, or 15 years, which I don't know how long it's been, you know, BFs have been my go-to tyre. You know, I can always go back to them and know exactly what I'm going to get. But is there another one? Is there another tyre? Is there a better tyre? Food for thought, right? Or tyre for thought. Yeah, what else can I say about them apart from, yes, they're all trains, no noise, you know, they're quiet. They're very quiet, all trains. The grip in comparison to the mud trains on gravel roads and so forth, you know, they're not as good as the mud trains. The mud trains were better. But 35,000 Ks, when these get 60,000, you know, that's almost double. You know, I could probably get a lot more. I'll probably get more than 60,000 out of them if I kept going. But at the same time, I'm also a little bit dubious and scared of delamination, because that's what happened to every tyre that I've pushed a little bit further than I thought I could get. They delaminated. That's where the, you know, the outer tread or whatever it is spreads and does a bit of damage when it does that. But yeah, if hopefully this video is useful to you. If there's something, if you have something you can say, a comment, please do. You know, I'd appreciate that. Let me know what experience have you had with your tyres? What's your go-to? Have you had a similar experience or completely different? You know, I'd love to know. You know, that would be very, very beneficial for me. And maybe you, I don't know. I honestly don't know. You know, we're all so very different. And what I believe that we all drive in such different conditions and such different ways, whether we're travelling or working or whatever it is we're doing. You know, we're all so different. We've got different weights. There's so many different factors. You know, and I know I know there's a tyre for every purpose, but I'm definitely happy with BF Goodrich. If someone said to me, "Oh, I don't know what tyre to get. Should I get BF Goodrich? You know, KM or the KO2, or which, you know, depending on what you're doing." Yeah, it's a good place to start, but you know, so is anyway, really. And I guess finding a tyre, and if it suits you, if it works well for you, stick with it. Definitely. I mean, I'm going back to these and sort of sticking with them. But I still, you know, I still want to try other tyres. I still will try other tyres, because I can't help it. All right, thank you very much for watching. If you watched all the way to the end, awesome. Thank you very much. And hopefully I'll see you in the next video, right? And I'm just being, you know, hassled by corrallers. All right, cheers, thanks, bye.